there has been people who have jumped, who have survived. I mean, 98% of the people that jump kill themselves. If the fall doesn't kill them, then the water will. Either they'll drown or they'll be in there and they'll get hypothermia and die. It doesn't take long for hypothermia to set in. And if it's in the late night, in the dark, they're very difficult to find. Now, depending on the time of day, the height and weight of the body, the body will sink. And two things can happen. It can stay in the bay, hopefully, luckily for the families, because then the body will be found and identified. But if the body is washed out to sea, it can come back in again on the tide. And just south of here, there's 3 beaches here in the city. You've got Baker Beach. I don't think you know these beaches if you've never been here before. But you've got Baker Beach, you've got China Beach, small beach, and you've got the big ocean beach near where I live. And many bodies have washed up 24, 48 hours later because they came back in on the tide. Usually when they come onto the shoreline, that's when you see changes just in 24 hours. You'll see the skin is like somebody in a car crash that's gone through a windshield. You'll have all this redness, all the skin's taken off, and that is from the body rubbing back and forth on the sand and on the rocks if they're face down. Hopefully, if it's a male, you'll find an ID in the pocket, their wallet. But it was always funny when a body had been in for say 24 hours. It was always funny. All the pockets were full of sand, and when you got back to the office, you'd empty the sand. There'd all be these little crabs and little sea life inside their pockets. Females are a bit different because they don't carry ID usually. They'll have a purse, so you've got jewelry that narrows things down. But more often than not, people, being Americans, they don't want to walk to the bridge. They usually drive. They drive everywhere. So cars will be found parked overnight, which will set off a red light for a police officer. They'll break into the car and they'll find identification. So that starts to narrow things down. This girl in her 20s, because her purse is in the car. And then we find a girl in the ocean, and that's when we start matching things. Now, when you get into the body that sinks, it can be down there for several weeks before it comes up again. Now you've got a problem. Grave wax is when the body bleaches out. The body's kind of a white, creamy color. And that's with it being like that, being in the ocean for several weeks. And the face and the hands will all be eaten away. Usually the eyes go first, and the mouth. That's all the soft tissue on the head. The fish go for that first.